Hi guys, this is Jiggy, a portrait and wedding photographer from the Philippines, and welcome to the channel. So I've been getting a lot of questions asking how I keep my images sharp whenever I upload to Facebook or Instagram. If you want to know how I keep my images sharp all throughout my editing process, then this might be the video for you. So I'll start off with this premise. You know that saying of trash in and trash out? Basically, that goes the same way when it comes to image sharpness. I believe that you cannot sharpen an image that is generally soft to begin with. That's why I like investing in good sharp lenses and a very good camera. So the moment that I bring it into the computer, it is already sharp in nature. Because falsely sharpening any image would actually make it feel very HDR-ish, or it'll make it feel unnatural, because I like my images to look as naturally sharp as possible. Okay, so it starts off with this. The very first thing that I do is make sure that my raw is processed properly. Now, how do I do that? First, you need to be able to understand what raw really is. Raw files are technically not image files yet. They are just a bunch of data waiting for it to be interpolated by a software. Now, each software will actually read that data differently. Some softwares can make it more vibrant, the colors more vibrant, the others may be sharper. You know, it's a trial and error thing, but for me personally, I've fallen in love with the way Capture One renders my images. That's what I have been using for the past how many years. So in Capture One, I don't even do anything in terms of sharpening. I just leave the software to do it for me. But this is where I do most of my exposure adjustments and my brightness adjustments. Well, my exposure and brightness and some shadows here and there, such as this image here that you can see. Now, what did I touch with this one? I just touched my white balance, my exposure, my brightness, and pulled up the shadows a bit here in my adjustment layer. That's basically all. That's basically what I do in terms of this is what I call my pre-sharpening, because my pre-sharpening is dependent on the way the software renders the image. So from here, all I have to do is export it now to Photoshop. So while it's exporting now, again, sharpening is done in stages. It's not meant to be, okay, this is done, then we sharpen. It's basically pre-sharpening, then you do your edit sharpens, then you do output sharpening, in which case we are actually sharpening for web. So now that it's done, I'll open it up in Photoshop. Okay, so now that it's here in Photoshop, basically, this is where all the cleaning happens, which we won't do today. But let us focus now on sharpening. So what do I sharpen whenever I'm done? Let's say I'm done with this image. I've edited everything that I wanted to remove. Basically, my Photoshop is basically just for cleaning. What do I do? I actually only sharpen the parts that needs to be sharpened. I don't do a global sharpening to my entire image. So I have here already an action set. I call it my contrast sharpening. So look at what it does to the layers here. Let's say, for example, this is your final image already. When I click play, I set it so that it creates a new image, a new layer, and then it sharpens the entire image. Okay, so now we'll focus just on them. So if it sharpens the entire image, look at this one, I will now create a layer mask and remove the sharpening. Then from there, I just get my white brush tool and I bring out the areas that I need to be sharp. Now, what are those areas that need to be sharp? It's normally the eyes, the eyebrows, the hair, and the mouth. And in this case, also the clothes. So by doing this, you're actually creating a false sense of softness also to the skin of your subjects, because everything else is sharper than that of the skin. So you don't really need to do that much skin smoothing in essence. But of course, you still need to be able to clean the images in terms of some blemishes on the skin. Those are things that you should be removing. Now, here, you could already see if I turn off that layer, look at how the image pops. Now, I'm sure you guys are going to ask me what was inside this contrast sharpening action. Well, here it is. But I'll explain more about that later. Now, from there, I have an action set here also for horizontal or vertical images. Then it converts it to sRGB because the color space should be sRGB when you're uploading to web. And then afterwards, a bunch of image sizing, gradual image sizing, and then flatten and a final unsharp mask at the very end. So all I have to do is click play, and there we go. We're ready for upload. Sharpened image, resized to 2048, ready for upload to Facebook or Instagram. Now, let me do it again. I'm pretty sure you guys really weren't able to see the difference of the sharpening that I do with an image this big. So I'll bring up another image here. The sharpening is done only to the parts that need sharpening. Don't ever sharpen the skin because it's not gonna look good. So from there, again, web vertical, and boom. This type of system basically maintains the sharpness that you've already done and is optimizing it for web upload. The most important thing to remember is one, trash in, trash out. So you gotta make sure that your images are sharp to begin with. So none of that camera shake or that motion blur or all those things, right? Number two, it's important, especially if you're shooting in RAW, that you have a good RAW processing software. Then number three, just sharpen the parts of the image that actually needs to be sharpened. You don't have to sharpen the whole image globally. And number four, whenever you're uploading to the web, make sure that you have it set at 2048, which is a size that Facebook actually accepts or downsizes all your images to. And the last thing is make sure that when you're uploading to Facebook or Instagram, you are uploading the file that you created that is optimized for that. You don't send it via Messenger or Viber, then download it on your phone and upload it. Obviously, those things are just gonna be crap already. So now, I'm sure you guys are gonna be saying, okay, so this was basically useless because all he did was show his action set. But basically, sharpening is really your personal taste. So you can create your own action sets on how you want to sharpen it. But this particular video is how I actually resize everything to be able to maintain that sharpness whenever I upload to Facebook or Instagram. But I will do this. I will give you guys a copy of my action set for contrast sharpening and optimized for web upload, but you gotta give me something in return too. So what is that? You could subscribe to this channel, leave a comment below, like this video, then go to my Instagram, it's at Jiggy Alejandrino, follow me there, send me a DM in Instagram, and then I will send you the link where you could download these action sets. But I will end this giveaway on midnight, August 31, 2020. Okay, so that's it. Till the next video.